He said, you know, you are not going to raise my children by yourself. You have become my enemy, and as my enemy, I will kill you.
I want to tell you something about the DC Snipper. He had a wife, and her name was Mildred Muhammad. In this video, it's actually about her. And there is strong evidence that the entire DC Snipper case, all those random killings, were all a setup to kill her. At 27 years old, Mildred met her husband, John Muhammad, the man who was accused of being the DC Snipper. And their marriage was never really healthy. Aside from being an unfaithful husband, John was psychologically abusive. He'll do things like break the new dishes she bought, throw out her favorite clothing, and control every dollar she spent. If she even went $5 over the budget, there would be repercussions from him. At one point, he was limiting her to such little money for food that her friend had to go buy her some groceries. He tracked her movements and monitored everything. But after many years of that and 3 children, she asked for a divorce. And that's when he said this.
You are not going to raise my children by yourself. You have become my enemy, and as my enemy, I will kill you.
Yeah, when she left him, things got worse. He broke into her home, messed with her locks, and changed her phone number without her knowledge. The abuse was so bad that a judge granted her a lifetime restraining order. Do you know how hard it is to get a lifetime restraining order? Do those even exist anymore? But here's the thing, even with the lifetime restraining order, he was still allowed visitation with his children. So she made sure she communicated with a third party to get the children to and from him. But one day, she got the children to him, but didn't get the children back. He basically kidnapped his own children, took them to Antigua. But Mildred didn't know that. For 18 months, she had no clue where her children were. 18 months. But what makes this worse is that the people around Mildred was giving John information about her. So Mildred didn't know where her children were. Mildred didn't know where John was, but John knew exactly where Mildred was at all times, even while he was in Antigua. And she figured this out because during the time her children were missing, she had to be admitted into the hospital. And guess who called the hospital? John did, threatened to kill her from another country. And that's when she went into an all-women's shelter in order to hide from him. In that shelter, she changed her last name to Muhammad. And that's interesting, because this whole time, I bet you thought Muhammad was her married name. No, Muhammad wasn't even her maiden name. It was her chosen name to hide from John. But the crazy thing is, around that same time, John also changed his last name to Muhammad to hide from the law, because he was doing some shady things in Antigua. And that's how they both ended up with the same last name, Muhammad, unbeknownst to each other at the time. But he eventually came back to the US under the last name Muhammad, of course. He came back as a single dad with 3 kids, trying to check into a shelter. And boom. Because that was so unusual and Mildred had already filed all necessary paperwork for her 3 missing children, authorities realized those were Mildred's children. She was reunited with her children and in a custody hearing was given full custody. And yes, John made it to the custody hearing, but honestly, just to taunt her. Because after the hearing, this happened.
In the hallway, after we were given custody, my attorney was trying to call to find out where the children were. So my back was to the hallway. I felt a presence and it was John. I turned around, I ran down the hallway. My attorney and friend looked at me, they looked at John and they ran too. He put his hand on the courtroom door, looked at me and said, "Gotcha."
And from that moment, John started to plan with his accomplice, who I have not mentioned in this story, but he has an interesting story of his own. According to FBI, the entire DC Snipper spree, all those random killings, weren't random at all. It was practice for his real target, Mildred. There's a new documentary about Mildred's story called Haunted by My Husband, the untold story of the DC Snipper. Check it out when you have a chance. And before October is over, take a moment to recognize Domestic Violence Awareness Month. It's Mildred's life work now.